That's all I have. Yes.
I'm going to ask, please, that we hold question and answer. We're going to save the last 15 minutes for Q&A and let you ask some questions. But we're going to stay on track. And it's nice that Ted brings that slide presentation because obviously the DNR has done this many times before and put together lake management plans. But to tell you this is hot off the press, we put this stuff together in the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to ask Derek to step up here with me. And we're going to hand something out to everybody. And we didn't hand it out before now because we didn't want you looking at it while we were talking to you. And when Jen...
Okay.
What we're trying to do here is we got together and had like 1 or 2 meetings. So we're like 3 hours into this. Maybe a little bit more than that.
A little more than that.
But in terms of a group meeting, it's 3 or 4 hours. And all we tried to do is take the people in our core group and say, what are the issues on the lake? Like Ted brought a bunch of them out. Shoreline restoration, water quality, estuaries, tributaries. We put together a list of 15 different issues. And on that list of issues, we put 1 or 2 points that we think are important. And I gotta make sure I didn't give mine away.
You may need more.
No, I didn't. So what Derek and I are going to do is we're going to go through our 10 or 15 issues and we're going to take 1 minute per issue and explain example. For example, this is an issue, here's 1 or 2 examples. And the reason why we're doing this tonight is like Ted said, then you guys can go home, you can talk to your neighbors, you can talk to your friends. Maybe we got half of them. Maybe we missed half of them. That's what the public has to do, is to come back to us and say, we think there's 10 more things out there that you don't even have on your list, and we have examples that we want to give to you under those 10 issues. I know this is not a complete list. It was not intended to be a complete list. So the last 29 minutes is going to be spent with 14 of them. We're going to go through this real quick, and we'll try to even do better than that, and we'll give you examples. And then the last 15 minutes, we're going to take some questions. And if your question is to talk about a problem and to suggest a solution, we prefer not to get that question right now, because we're not ready for that question right now. Okay? So, if you have a question about the process, I think maybe that's appropriate. If you have a question about where we're going, I think that's appropriate. You guys get what we're trying to say. So we'll start, and we'll go through these. You know, I have the first one, and I'll wait another 30 seconds until I think everyone has one. The first thing on our list, the watershed.
Jim is making more copies, so just hang tight and we'll all get one.
If you can share with your neighbor, we thought we made 30-some copies. We thought if we got 30 people here, we were doing pretty good. And we're very happy to see that there's more than that. So if you can share with your neighbor, we will get you a copy. The first issue, the watershed. I think Ted mentioned a big part of the watershed is Fond du Lac County. Well, we have information that we gather right now, and I think a lot of people are surprised when they hear this. We spend almost $100,000 a year on USGS information, both through a federal grant and the Santa District. We're constantly monitoring how much phosphorus comes into the lake, how much phosphorus goes out of the lake, sediment, and a number of other things we're monitoring. So we want to get a better handle on how are we doing in comparison to 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And that's obviously an important thing for us to know as we move forward. Tributaries. We've been using the schools and different volunteers to do tributary monitoring, biotic indexing for the last 20 years. We have a lot of information that we need to take a look at and see how we're doing. And where we'll continue to do that. Do an inventory of our watershed. How have things changed in the last 10 years since we looked at the inventory? That's my minute on watershed. I'll turn it over to Derek for the next one.
Aquatic Habitat is the next one. A couple of bullet points on there. In-lake large woody structure loss. In natural lakes, there's a lot of natural tree falls that are important to the processes to fish populations, to fish food. A lot of these lakes that get developed, all that stuff gets taken out and it affects the lake as a whole. Long-range historical plant habitat loss. Plants, communities change over time. This lake has been dammed up and raised 5 feet. How has that affected the natural plant community? Are they invasives? Are there good quality beds of plants out there that keep the water quality better, to improve fish habitat? And management of shallow water tributaries, Silver Creek area, County Marsh. These estuaries, as they're called, that come in, have a lot of roles they play in filtering water coming in and providing shallow water habitat also. If you think of Big Green Lake, most of it's a very deep system and it's not what they call littoral zone, or places where plants grow. So these large areas are important for raising small fish and such. So that's my 45 seconds.
The next item, fisheries. There's a lot of things with fisheries. Carp. What's going on with carp? What about the fish kill in Puckaway? How did that affect Green Lake? How is the stocking program going? What about the fishery facility? What have we been doing lately? Dave Bartz has talked about this is our year to have a fish survey done on Big Green Lake. And maybe he can comment on that in the question and answer period. That would be fantastic. But there's a lot of different issues with the fisheries that we know are out there. So I'm going to beat my minute time and turn the next one over to you.
Okay, I&E, which is information education. The economic value of Green Lake is kind of unknown. There's a lot of studies in the state from universities showing how water clarity affects property values, but also just